There are 20 dress patterns on my list that I want to sew for 2024. Now that we are 8 months into the year, how many dress patterns do you think I've sewed? Let's find out. Today, we're taking a look at the dress patterns that I wanted to sew for 2024 and how many dress patterns that I have sewed so far off that list. I set out to sew about 5 to 6 patterns off this list, and so far I have accomplished that goal. However, I was unhappy with a few of the dress patterns that I have selected and a few of the dress patterns that I have sewed. So we're going to first take a look at the dress patterns that I did not like, and then we will finish off the video with talking about the ones that I did like. So that way we can end on a positive note. So let's see what dresses patterns I have sewed so far and what I want to do for the remainder of the year. Before we get into talking about the dress patterns that I've sewed off my list, let's first revisit the list. So the first pattern that was on my list was the New Look in 6581, the Vogue V 1908, the Vogue V 1952, the Vogue V 1898, the Know Me pattern ME 2050, the Simplicity S 9701, the New Look in 6705, the New Look in 6766, the Berta 5943, the Simplicity S 9539, the Know Me pattern ME 2046, the Butterick pattern B 6809, the McCall's pattern M 7894, Friday Pattern Company's Westcliff dress, and the Davenport dress, the Simplicity S 9888, the Simplicity S 9887, the McCall's M 8449, the McCall's M 8448. Let's see which patterns I've sewed so far, and let's see what I liked and what I didn't like. So I want to first start off with the New Look in 6766, which is this pattern here, and it is a replica of the Vogue pattern here. So this is a pattern that I did not like. I did not like the pattern. I did not like the fabric choice. I did not like the silhouette. It just did not go well for me at all. This pattern has an empire waistline, and I had to lengthen that waistline by about an inch. And even after lengthening the empire waistline, it still just did not fit right. The back waistline was too low. The sleeve pattern, I feel like, was poorly constructed. I know that this pattern in the Vogue version of it was very popular, but I just don't see why. I don't know if the pattern that I received from New Look was an exact replica of the Vogue pattern or not. But in any case, if it was, it's still just, it's not a good pattern in my opinion. The sleeve pattern was just twisted. It's awkward. The front part of the sleeve pattern is bigger than the back of the sleeve pattern. I mean, by quite a bit. And so when you're gathering in your lower sleeve and you're putting on that cuff, it makes your sleeve twisted even more. It's not a good design. I did not enjoy that pattern at all. I did not enjoy the waistline of that pattern. I selected a fabric that was sponsored to me by Zalou Fabric. And because that fabric was like a rayon, it kind of moved and shifted more so than most rayons. And so it was not good for the empire waistline. The empire waistline ended up shifting and moving. And so on one side of the body, it's lower than the other side of the body. It's a horrible, horrible garment. And I did not enjoy that project at all. I'll put the link to my pattern review in the description box below. And in fact, you can see all the pattern reviews of what I'm talking about today. In the description box below, you'll find links to them and you can watch my full review. I did not enjoy that one. I will not carry on in this video and point out all the negatives or things that I didn't like about it. Just watch my review. My reviews are very detailed and I usually explain everything in my reviews, things that I liked, things I didn't like. So go watch that review. The next pattern on my list that I sewed was the New Look 6581. And I had really high hopes for this pattern, and I was very disappointed that it did not turn out the way in which I had hoped. So the New Look N6581 is a knit dress pattern. Actually, I think it's more like a tunic, but you can sew a dress. You have two different variations. You have a short tunic or a top, and then you have a longer variation, which can be a dress. So that is the dress that you see on my dress form right now. So that's the New Look N6581, and I'm not wearing it in this video for good reason because it's not a good pattern. I did not like it. I did not like it. I did not like this pattern. So the waistline is so long, like just abnormally long. So I'm used to the waistline being at least one, maybe 1.5 inches too long. This is like 2 to 3 inches too long in the waist. It just did not work well for the wrap portion of the body for me for that reason. And the coverage, it's just a very deep coverage. As you can see on my dress form, it's very deep. It's not at all as how it's portrayed on the model. It has a very deep plunging neckline, and it's going to be hard for you to wrap the garment around and cover your bust if you are, I would say, anywhere between a C or D or higher. It's just not a great wrap dress pattern in my opinion. I did make some tweaks to the sleeve pattern. I didn't need to. The sleeve pattern actually accommodated my biceps. And so when I went into the pattern and I measured the pattern and I did a little test on the sleeve, I thought, wow, this is going to be great. I don't have to do a bicep adjustment. This is going to be a great pattern. Even though I didn't have to do a bicep adjustment, I still put gathers on the sleeve head because I wanted to spice up the dress a little bit. And so you'll see that I do have gathers on the sleeve head. This pattern does not come that way. I'll make sure that I get close-ups and details so that you can actually see the garment and see how it turned out. It looks okay on my dress form, and you're probably thinking, well, it looks really good on your dress form, T. That's because you can drape and you can do things on a dress form that will help it look better, but it actually isn't. So I'll share with you details of how I had to fashion this garment the way and drape it on my dress form to get it to look like this. It's not like that at all on my body, on my dress form, which is really, really telling for me, because if it doesn't fit my dress form and it doesn't fit me, then I know it's not me, it's the pattern. I mean, there are other factors too, but I think those are two of the things that I look for in the pattern. If it can fit me, you know, different sizes, heights, waistlines. My dress form waistline is about, I think, 2 inches longer in the tooth than mine. And so it doesn't even fit my dress form's waistline correctly. So I don't like this pattern. It's just the wrap isn't good. The sleeve pattern is probably the best part of the pattern. I hate to say it, but it's probably the best part of the pattern. Other than that, it's just not a pattern that I enjoy. Next, the Butterick B6809. I'm a little bit conflicted about this one. This one sits in the middle for me. The pattern was fantastic. I loved the pattern, hated the garments. Well, I wouldn't say hated the garments. I hated the way in which it turned out on the button placket of the garment. So this beautiful, beautiful dress pattern features this semi-sweetheart neckline with a button placket, and you have this half a button placket. So it's just a button placket that's on your upper portion of the body. And then you have a zipper that you're going to be placing on the side of the body as well. You have a choice between an A-line skirt and just a regular straight skirt. It's such a beautiful and fantastic pattern. Please don't misunderstand me in my pattern review or my review of this dresses that I've made this year. I love this pattern. I really did love this pattern, and I would definitely make it again. I would not make it with the fabric that I have chosen. So the fabrics that I've chosen for this project, were not sponsored. I purchased these from Mood and they were a little bit pricey. And so I was very disappointed when I started to see that the fabric started peeling when it came in contact with the feed dogs as well as the buttonhole foot guide. I was livid. I was just so upset because the peeling is on the front of the dress where the button placket is. And so I understand that in part, yes, the feed dogs are slightly responsible for that, but my feed dogs were positioned low, so it should not have affected the fabric that much. But so it's partly the feed dogs and the button it coming in contact with that. And so if you are using this fabric for like a zipper closure or an elastic closure, both of these fabrics for any type of closure like that, I would say it would be okay. But if you're using it for any type of closure that consists of like buttons or anything like that, I think you're going to have a hard time with it. I didn't particularly like that because, like I said before, the fabric is quite pricey. The fabric didn't pill in other spots as much. However, it's a polyester fabric, and I usually do not work all that much with polyester fabric. I'm usually working with cottons, voils, any type of lightweight to medium weight rayons and types of challis type fabrics. I usually do not use polyester fabric. So I was very disappointed that that project did not turn out well. Next, I made the Nomi ME2050 by Veronica B. Cole. Now this pattern I did enjoy. I sewed this pattern at the beginning of the year when my sojo was quite lacking. And so it was a really great palette cleanser for me. I really enjoyed the process of sewing it. I did have to make some small adjustments to the neckline where I raised the neckline just a little bit. But other than that, I sewed that pattern basically straight out of the envelope and it did pretty well for me. Make sure that you check the description box again so that you can watch my reviews of these. This actually was a really great project and I'm snickering because it's interesting how the real simple and easy projects, a lot of the times those end up being the best projects, and the more complicated or intermediate projects sometimes end up being the worst. Like I don't understand that. But the Veronica B. Cole dresses that I made two, and I absolutely adore them. I absolutely adore them. In fact, one of them, the tan and cream and burgundy variation, that variation can be worn throughout all of fall, and I will be wearing that. And so I did enjoy that project. And again, the only thing I didn't really enjoy are the sleeves, and that's just a style choice for me. I'm not really big on dolman style sleeves, especially fitted dolman style sleeves. But other than that, it is a fantastic pattern. I absolutely love that pattern. Next, I sew the ME2046. This is my favorite dress pattern that I have sewed throughout the year. It's actually meant to be a tunic that has side slits, but I turned it into a dress. So this dress pattern is by Nikki Brooks. She goes by Beauty's J'adore. And I love this pattern. I can't wait to make it again. I want to make another variation either early winter or late fall. I think I just need to find a fabric that I really want to make it with. But this was my favorite dress pattern of the year, and I can't wait to make another one. I made two variations. I made one in a tan color and one in a mauve color. I can't wait to wear the tan color because those are the colors, tans, browns, neutrals, grays, all those types of colors are colors that are trending. So I cannot wait to wear that throughout this fall season. I made this, I think, around the time of the BHM Pattern Designers Challenge around February. And so it was starting to become spring. So it was almost early spring. But I did get quite a bit of wear out of those two garments before the warmer weather came. I think I wore those garments for about 3 months, and I would wear them to church every Sunday. So every other week, I was wearing one or the other. And so I got quite a bit of wear out of it. I absolutely adored these patterns, and I was sad that I had to actually put the dresses away when spring came and when warmer weather came. So I'm really excited to wear these dresses this year, and yeah, and try to style them with different color schemes and things of that nature of the season. So I'm just so amazed at how well that pattern turned out. Like I said, really enjoyed that pattern. So those are the 5 dress patterns that I have sewed off my list. Going forward for the remainder of the year, what I want to sew, I kind of altered my list and I updated my list. And so I don't know if I'm going to pay too much attention to the dress patterns that are on the list, like the remainder dress patterns. But there is just one on the list that I want to revisit, and that is that Vogue V1952 pattern. So that pattern I made last year, and I put it back on my list this year because I really want to make a holiday dress with a red ITY. So I think I might do that this Christmas and make a really nice holiday dress. I also want to make the New Look in 6650. Now, this was not on my list. I'm adding it to my list because I saw a few designer pieces that mimic this style, and that is on trend for fall of 2024. And I definitely want to make a variation of this. I seen a dress pattern, a beautiful dress pattern that has ties, long sleeves. It's I think it's a maxi. It's either a midi or a maxi length, and it's very similar to this New Look pattern. And I think I found it on the Neiman Marcus website, and so I'm really excited to make a variation of that. And then I also want to recreate the Astrid dress by DVF, and I want to use her classic Vogue V2060 pattern. And then I also want to make the Nomi ME2002. Now, this is a top, but again, as I was going through fall trends that we can sew for 2024, I came up with new inspiration, new ideas, things that I want to do. And so I want to turn this Brittany J. Jones top into a dress and maybe have slits on the side as well. So, and maybe even do gathers on the sleeve head. I don't know. I'm thinking of different inspirations, and I'm trying to put different pieces of inspirations that I have seen from multiple different sources together to create a garment for that. And so I'm definitely excited to do that. And then lastly, the Butterick B6958, which is a vintage wrap tunic top. And that's the pattern that I'm wearing right now. I absolutely love this. This is one of my favorite wraps. And after making the New Look 6581, this pattern here, I thought I just want to go back to some of the wrap dresses that worked for me. And so that's the Vogue V1952 and this Butterick pattern that I'm wearing today. So this pattern here, it's not a dress, it is a tunic. The only gripe that I have with this is that it's a tunic, it's not a dress. And since it's a tunic, it does not wrap, it's not a full wrap. And so when you're sitting down, if you're trying to make this into a dress, just keep that in mind. When you're sitting down, your legs will open because that tunic will open because it's not a full wrap. So I want to try to create a way in which I can actually make it a full wrap because this pattern fits me perfectly. I love the silhouette. I love the sleeves. I didn't have to add gathers to the sleeve because the pattern came with gathers in the sleeves. It's just such an amazing pattern. I absolutely love it. It's a one-piece body wrap. And so you don't have like a separate bodice and a separate skirt. You just have your front bodice and your back bodice pieces. I'm sorry, not bodice. You have your front dress piece and your back dress piece. And I say dress, but it's a tunic. But it's just one long piece and you're sewing those together. So you don't have a whole lot of pieces that you're working with. You also have a front facing and a back facing and your sleeve pattern, and that's it. It's a really simple project. I absolutely loved it. Go check out my pattern review of this. I'll put links in the description box below, and you tell me what you thought of my finished result. This is one of my fall pieces of last year, and so I'm excited to wear it this year. Let me know your comments in the comment section below. I can't wait to hear from you, and I will talk to you all in the next video. Bye.